It's the most important waterway in the world, carrying hundreds of millions of dollars of goods each year, and around 40% of all US container traffic. This is the Panama Canal.
The Panama Canal is considered one of the 7 wonders of the modern world. Through these waters flows trade that connects the East and the West, and in particular, those of the economies of the United States and China.
Large ships traveling between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans can navigate through the Panama Canal by being lifted 26 meters above sea level through a system of locks to enter and exit Lake Gatun. Every time a ship passes through the canal, it uses 200 million liters of fresh water from Lake Gatun. Lake Gatun is the reservoir that keeps the canal running. It is the major source of drinking water in Panama, and it's running low.
Cerca de 80 pies. El año pasado, para el mismo día de hoy, el nivel estaba rondando los 85 pies. Es decir, que el año pasado estábamos casi 4 pies y medio por arriba. Calculas el volumen de agua de una columna de agua de 4 pies y medio por una superficie de 450 kilómetros cuadrados, es bastante agua. Sí, históricamente este ha sido uno de los registros más bajos. A medida que el nivel del agua del embalse Gatun baja, su calado baja y la capacidad de carga también baja.
The reduction in traffic through the waterway is causing a backup in shipping that is impacting commerce worldwide. The lake's water levels decreased due to insufficient rainfall during the previous rainy season. Only 1.85 meters of rain were recorded in Panama last year, which is below the average of 2.6 meters. This was due to the El Niño phenomenon. This recurrent drier condition has occurred in 6 of the past 10 years. The lake is so low that it's impacting the canal's normal operations. Ricardo Huete, a member of the hydrology team, took us to one of the hydropower stations.
So this is a hydropower station,
Yeah.
but you say that you haven't been using it for recent years. Why is that?
Bueno, ha sido porque como hemos estado en los últimos 10 años, la mayoría de los años han sido años secos, hemos tenido condiciones en donde no ha habido una abundancia de agua, no ha habido una cantidad de agua disponible.
The hydropower station produced 24 megawatts of power that helped power the canal's operations and was connected to Panama's national grid.
Lo que vemos aquí es la estación hidrometeorológica de Gamboa. Es una de las estaciones más antiguas del Canal de Panamá. La misma fue construida en el año 1881. Esta estación fue construida inclusive antes de que se construyera el Canal de Panamá por los franceses.
The hope is that the upcoming rain season will be heavy enough to replenish Lake Gatun after the El Niño event, after which the canal is expected to resume normal operations. The French attempted to build the Panama Canal in 1880, but after 20 years and over 20,000 fatalities due to accidents and disease, they abandoned the project. Starting in 1903, the Americans took over the building project. Over 55,000 men and women worked tirelessly to remove countless tons of earth, the outlines of which can still be seen today. More than 5,000 workers died before the canal was finally completed and inaugurated in 1914. Despite Panamanians' demands to control the canal, the US administered it for more than 6 decades. In 1977, the two sides agreed that Panama would take control, and that happened at the end of the millennium. More than 900,000 ships have passed through the canal, which has since become a tourist site. The Panama Canal is a crucial source of income for Panama, a country with a population of 4.5 million people. 1/4 of the country's revenue comes from the canal business. In 2023, the Panama Canal generated $2.5 billion in revenue. The role of this canal in the nation's economy and global trade is significant. I meet Ilia Espino de Marota, the canal's first chief sustainability officer at the Miraflores locks on the Pacific side of Panama.
The Panama Canal is very important for world trade because we are a short route, so it's cheaper to move goods through the canal than on a longer route. The number one user of the Panama Canal is USA by far, and the number one trade route is east coast of USA to Asia. Second user of the canal is China, so those are like two of the largest economies in the world.
The Panama Canal handles around $270 billion in commerce annually, showcasing the robustness of global trade. Yet, it also highlights the risks of relying on a handful of transit routes, susceptible to disruption.
2023 has been our third driest year in the history of the canal. We didn't have enough rainfall, it was a very strong El Nino, and we were actually forced to diminish the amount of transit that we could put per day from an average of 36 to 38 transits per day to a maximum of 24.
Have you guys managed to figure out what impact it's having on the global economy, your necessary measure to reduce the traffic through the Panama Canal?
I'll have to say that the impact this year might not have been significant in shipping because it will be a short disruption. You know, if it prolongs 3, 4, 5 years, then maybe all of the goods can increase in price because you have to use the alternate routes, which are more expensive because of the distance.
The Panama Canal's traffic decline coincides with a challenging period for global commerce. Tensions in the Middle East, coupled with attacks on shipping by Yemen's Houthi rebels in the Red Sea, have disrupted traffic through Egypt's Suez Canal. The International Monetary Fund reports a 33% drop in trade through Panama's canal and a 50% decrease in shipping via the Suez Canal in the first 2 months of 2024. As the ships wait at sea for a chance to pass through the Panama Canal, frustrations have risen. Jorge Cervantes, the Panama representative of the Chilean shipping company Agunsa, has expressed his frustration with the canal's measures. While these measures may be necessary, they have caused delays and bottlenecks for shipping companies.
Ahora mismo lo que está sucediendo es que esos 3-4 días se han convertido en 20-25 días. Entonces, esos 70 barcos se convirtieron en 200.
Cervantes says the Panama Canal's infrastructure is strong enough to maintain its status as a major hub for shipping despite delays and increased costs. But he warns that this may result in a rise in the prices of shipped products for consumers.
Sí hay hasta cierto punto una frustración, aunque siempre los costos al final se van al consumidor final, ¿no? Ahora actualmente hay un cargo que están implementando las navieras, al menos las navieras de contenedores, un cargo que se llama Panama Canal Surcharge, que va de $200 a $300 por contenedor, y eso pues es un cobro que se está haciendo por todo lo que implica tiempos de espera, gastos adicionales, rutas adicionales, consumo de combustible, etc.
He fears that with inflation affecting the world, the increase in shipping prices could be as impactful as the pandemic.
Bueno, yo no podría dar un número preciso porque es un sinfín de productos los que se mueven y de rutas y de afectaciones diversas, pero es un hecho de que hay una afectación. Es algo comparado como con cuando fue la pandemia del COVID, había afectaciones a diferentes niveles en diferentes lugares.
Experts say the canal's extensive records allow them to see long-term trends. What they see worries them.
In the 143 years, we've never seen 3 major drought years in such a short period of time, 26 years. We've also had the 3 driest years in a row ever. 2014, 15, and 16 were the 3 contiguous driest years we've ever had on record. We don't know why, but it's certainly very worrying that something like that is happening. So what we have seen are 3 very strong El Nino years, which have caused very strong water deficit years, not only in Panama, but in much of Central America. So we've never seen this before. So it's at very least a big signal that something may be changing, but we really don't know whether it's climate change.
The lack of rainfall in 2023 forced the canal to react quickly to maintain shipping traffic.
This is the lake level from last year. So this is when they started restricting, and that was very unusual. This is one of the few times they began to restrict the size of the ships and the number of ships going through in the middle of the rainy season. So they knew that they were already in trouble by June. We got a few rains in November, which is our rainiest month, so there was a little bit of recovery, but not nearly as much as we would have hoped for. The dry season started very early, about 1 month early. Usually our dry season starts at the end of December. It began at the beginning of December, so we lost all of December's rainfall.
Patton explains that following an El Nino event like last year's, it is common for the subsequent rainy season to be average or slightly above average. This could help recharge the lake. Juan Carlos Navarro is a former candidate for the presidency and one of the country's leading voices for the environment.
The Panama Canal is a wonder of the world. This entire system is the backbone of Panama's economy. Without the canal, nothing of what you see in Panama would be here. It would be a totally different country.
He says the multi-billion-dollar canal expansion, which started in 2007 and was completed in 2016, did not anticipate the need for more water in larger operations.
The canal runs on fresh water. It's obvious that if you are going to expand the canal, you are going to use more fresh water. Well, back then we didn't know it, but in 2006 when we approved the referendum to expand the canal, and today we're paying the price. And one of the prices that we are paying is that the expanded canal, in a year like this year where we have El Nino, doesn't have enough water. What do we have to do? We have to immediately expand the watershed and do a new reservoir in Rio Indio. Because from now on, with climate change, El Niños are going to be more frequent and more extreme.
Another solution would be to find another source of drinking water for the country, like that from Lake Bayano in the country's east, leaving Lake Gatun for just the canal's operations.
The drinking water, which we are currently getting from the canal watershed, it comprises about 15 to 20% of the entire water of the watershed. So, if we bring in that water from Bayano, which is a 5-year project which will cost us several $1 billion, and we have a new reservoir at Rio Indio, which is a 4-year project that will cost about $1 billion, then we're going to give the canal back 40% more water. If we do that, we're going to be fine, and the canal will continue to be an absolutely irreplaceable, thorough way for world commerce. Undoubtedly, the canal has failed to address this problem, and the responsibility of the canal administration was to administer the canal appropriately. They failed. They should have given us the Rio Indio reservoir 20 years ago. They did not. Today, there is not only no excuse, there is no time. We need to do Rio Indio immediately, and gives the order to the canal people to get their act together and to start doing what they need to do and what their responsibility implies, which is guarantee safe, efficient, secure passage of world trade at full capacity through our canal.
The canal administrators reject any criticism of the expansion and insist that climate change is the culprit.
It's not accurate. Climate change has been the problem this year. When you think we've been operating the canal successfully for 7 years, with 2 dry years in this 7-year period, the expanded canal. This problem has been faced by the Amazon River, the Rhine River, the Mississippi River. So it's not just the canal. We can see the climate change. We can see the effects.
Are you worried about the position of the Panama Canal, its preeminence with this, that people may just start opting for those other routes?
We have an auction system, and the auctions have been very pricey. So that tells you the importance of the route. Also, with the problems in the Red Sea, we have seen that shipping would like to come here, but we cannot offer them the slot. We urge our customers to take alternate routes in the short term, especially the people that were having a hard time either getting a reservation or being able to pay for an auction. So we're not worried, we're a very reliable route. We'll be back in business shortly. The big solution would be build a new multi-purpose reservoir that will supply water for 11 to 15 additional transits per day. The construction of the new reservoir would be between 4 and 6 years. So by 2030, 2031, this should be fixed.
The Panama Canal is crucial to global trade and is unlikely to be replaced anytime soon. But last year's dry season is a reminder of how environmental factors can negatively impact economic flow, despite the hundreds of billions of dollars involved.